We know how hot it's been lately. This past week, though, government scientists said Earth's climate set a grim record. Temperatures repeatedly hit and surpassed levels not seen in 125,000 years. A reporter from our news partner at The Hill wrote about 5 scientific findings that could help us all survive that excessive heat. Joining us this afternoon is Saul Elbine, who covers land, energy, and resources at The Hill. Saul, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
It's a delight.
You know, we have your article over on KXAN.com, our website. It is incredibly dense because of everything you cited there. Because of all the research you did and reviewed, what are some of the top lines, the takeaways that you had after looking at all of that?
So the biggest thing, Will, is that while heat waves are inevitable and are becoming ever more inevitable, they are not necessarily, they don't have to contribute to deaths from heat. So I think that's the most important thing we need to remember, is that heat deaths are a policy choice. They're a policy choice because we knew 50 years ago, Exxon scientists were predicting roughly these effects if we kept burning carbon dioxide. We knew 30 years ago, when Congress was briefed by NASA scientist James Hansen, and 3 years after that, Bush Sr. was at the Rio Climate Conference promising that we were going to get this under control. The government didn't, the governments of the world didn't, and here we are. So that's grim. What's somewhat more relieving, though, is that even though we're in this world in which it's getting hotter and hotter, and heat waves are lasting longer, and we're hitting higher extremes, actually, mostly what kills people isn't heat. What kills people is exposure to heat. What kills people is doing hard work in heat. And I'm thinking here about, there were a lot of studies I read, and one of the sort of more cheery ones, which there were a lot of really good ones that came out of China, and one of them studied this small gerbil that lives in the blazing hot deserts of southwestern China. And this gerbil went through 130-degree anomalous heat waves without suffering any real heat stress. And the reason why, and I think this is pretty relatable, was the gerbils dig burrows, and they spend the heat of the day down in their burrow, and they weren't too susceptible to the heat. And so I think the lesson there is, if you've got a good burrow and if you can make lifestyle adaptations, you can kind of do okay in a heat wave. So the question is, how are cities, how is the government making that possible for people?
And you're leading right into my next question, because a part of your article focused on how a city's design could contribute to dangerous heat that we're experiencing. How so? Well,
it does contribute to dangerous heat. And this is actually really relatable. I mean, if you're in Austin, if you're in a park under the shade of a nice live oak tree, next to a pool, next to the Greenbelt, next to Barton Springs, it's not nearly as hot. If you're at Barton Springs and you can jump in that cold water and you get out, you're not as hot. And what all that sort of expresses, especially when you compare it to what it's like standing in, say, a big H-E-B parking lot without any trees, is what scientists call the heat island effect. That cities make heat, and cities have been getting hotter faster than the climate increase dictates that they should. And the reason is that cities are growing and they're gobbling up wildlands, and they're covering the land in impermeable surfaces that don't store water. And as grim as that is, the lucky thing is those are policy choices that can be changed, and we're learning more and more about how to change them. So I said that a lot of the good studies came out of China, and southern China has a climate that's pretty similar to the Texas Gulf Coast. And 2 of the big cities there, Macau and Hong Kong, are sort of within spitting distance of Houston's climate. So the scientists who looked at this dynamic in Macau concluded that while temperatures are the main, or while climate change and the amount of heat hitting the city is the biggest driver in heat, it is not the biggest driver in resilience to heat. The biggest driver in resilience to heat is how porous the city is to water moving through it, and how big and how much green space is there. Those are the biggest things. And there's some other things we can add. There was another study that found that a blackout would raise the mortality rate from a heat wave by a factor of 2. So we need to have a stable grid. I mean, these are the kinds of things that we need to be thinking about now that we are living in this world, even as we work to make it better.
And we're only seeing those temperatures keep climbing too.
That's right.
What are some of the simpler, more simple ways that a community or places can take on, or even personally, to be able to bring down that heat and deal with it a little bit better?
That's right, because a live oak takes a long time to grow,
right.
And changing big aspects of city planning will take time. What cities can do relatively quickly is establish cooling centers, and more to the point, they can establish cooling centers near where the people who need them live, which tend to be poorer, tend to be minorities, tend to be more elderly. If people can get to someplace cool, like our friends the gerbils, then they can make it through a tough time. if they can get someplace where they can drop their core body temperature down, they can more easily survive periods when it's very hot. And I think a lot of that's true for those of us who, maybe feel like we can rely on reliable AC. Acclimation really helps. If you're going to be doing yard work, you don't go out and do 8 hours of yard work on a hot day. You ease in. You spend a little bit of time outside and then a little bit more time outside. If you're running a job site, same idea.
Yeah.
You take breaks, you drink water, and you acclimate.
All right, all good things to keep in mind, especially when these heat and hot temperatures are sticking around. Saul Elbine with The Hill, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate